Before the first birds sang, before mammals walked the earth, before the continents drifted into their current shapes, a perfect design emerged from the primordial sludge. A blueprint for survival so ruthless and efficient that evolution has scarcely touched it in 200 million years. In the sprawling, sultry labyrinth of northern Australia's mangrove swamps, where the tidal rivers bleed into the Arafura Sea, the ancient world is not a memory, but a living, breathing, terrifying reality. Here the boundary between land and water is blurred by mud and intricate root systems, a tangled kingdom ruled by the largest reptile on the planet, the saltwater crocodile. To enter this realm is to step back in time, into an atmosphere thick with humidity and the heavy, muscular silence of an apex predator waiting. The heat creates shimmering mirages over the silken surface of the water, a surface that deceives the untrained eye, for beneath the opaque, tea-colored depths, a monster lurks. It is a creature built of pure power and infinite patience. A 20-foot-long phantom capable of slowing its heart rate to just a few beats per minute, dissolving its massive bulk into the submerged shadows until it is nothing more than a ripple, a faint disturbance that nature itself seems to ignore. This is the Salty, the undisputed lord of the estuarine interface, a biological machine perfectly engineered for the ambush. Consider the architecture of this beast, an armored leviathan clad in overlapping scales fortified with bony plates called osteoderms, a living tank patrolling the waterways. It is an animal of profound contradictions, capable of weeks of deathly stillness, followed by an eruption of violence so sudden and catastrophic that the human eye can barely register the movement. Its eyes, perched high on the skull to allow it to remain almost entirely submerged, are miracles of evolutionary adaptation, fitted with a reflective layer behind the retina that grants it night vision far superior to our own, turning the murky, nocturnal river into a brightly lit hunting ground. When it submerges, a clear third eyelid, the nictitating membrane, slides across like a pair of goggles, protecting the eye while maintaining visibility, while valves in its nostrils and throat seal tight, preventing water from rushing into its lungs, even when its jaws are wide open underwater. It is a submarine hunter, silent and invisible. Along the formidable jawline, dotted like stubble on a giant's chin, are sensory pits, integumentary sensory organs, far more sensitive than human fingertips, capable of detecting the minutest pressure wave in the water, the faint vibration of a hoof stepping onto the riverbank 50 feet away, or the thrashing of a wounded fish in the dark. The crocodile does not just see its world, it feels it, a subterranean map of movement and opportunity constructed in its primitive, focused brain. The hunt is a masterpiece of calculated restraint. A wallaby, driven by the midday thirst, cautiously approaches the river's edge, its ears twitching, its instinct screaming of danger, yet the water is smooth, disturbed only by a drifting log. But the log has eyes. The crocodile has been holding its position for 2 hours against the outgoing tide, its tail making micro adjustments to keep it stationary. It watches the wallaby lower its head to drink. The crocodile sinks slowly, exhaling air to decrease its buoyancy, disappearing completely save for the very tip of its snout. It stalks forward underwater, propelling itself not with its legs, which are tucked flat against its sides to reduce drag, but with slow, powerful undulations of its massive tail. It closes the distance, a silent torpedo moving through the gloom. 10 feet, 5 feet. The wallaby pauses, sensing a shift in the air pressure, a shadow where there shouldn't be one. It is too late. The water explodes outwards as the crocodile launches itself, using the immense power of its tail, half its body erupting from the river in a terrifying surge of spray and teeth. The jaws, capable of exerting the highest bite force ever recorded in the animal kingdom, over 3,000 pounds per square inch, rivaling that of a Tyrannosaurus rex, snaps shut with a sound like a cracking whip. Conical teeth, designed not for cutting, but for seizing and holding, puncture deep into muscle and bone. The impact alone is often enough to stun larger prey. The wallaby is dragged instantly into the deeper water, the crocodile's domain. To dispatch a large victim, the crocodile employs a gruesome tactic known as the death roll, spinning its entire body wildly in the water to disorient the prey and tear away manageable chunks of flesh. A chaotic ballet of primal violence that ends only when the struggling ceases. Yet these rivers are not their only home. Unlike their freshwater cousins confined to inland lakes, the saltwater crocodile is a true mariner. Nature has gifted them with specialized lingual salt glands on their tongues, biological pumps that actively filter excess salt from their blood, allowing them to venture far out into the open ocean. They are the great wanderers of the reptilian world, using ocean currents to travel hundreds of miles, island hopping across Southeast Asia and the Pacific, colonizing new territories, appearing suddenly on pristine beaches like nightmares rising from the surf. This seagoing ability is what has allowed them to thrive across such a vast expanse of the globe, masters of both the claustrophobic mangrove swamp and the boundless blue horizon. But life for a cold-blooded giant is a constant balancing act. They are slaves to the sun. As the cool dawn breaks, they haul their immense bodies onto the mudbanks, facing the rising sun, to soak up the thermal energy they need to jumpstart their metabolism. They lie there for hours, statues of prehistoric armor, sometimes gaping their mouths wide open in a behavior that looks menacing, but is actually a cooling mechanism, allowing heat to escape from the soft tissues of the mouth to prevent overheating as the tropical sun reaches its zenith. In these moments of repose, they look sluggish, almost vulnerable, but the coiled energy is always there, the potential for explosive speed, just a nerve impulse away. The rhythm of their lives is dictated by the seasons. When the oppressive heat builds and the monsoon clouds gather, signaling the arrival of the wet season in northern Australia, the atmosphere changes. The rivers swell, flooding the surrounding plains, connecting isolated billabongs and opening up new highways for movement. This is the season of giants colliding. Mature males, highly territorial and aggressively dominant, patrol vast stretches of river, tolerating no rivals. The air resonates with deep, guttural bellows, a sound felt in the chest as much as heard, subsonic vibrations that travel through the water to advertise their presence and strength. Conflicts are brutal and decisive. 2 ton-sized males clash in swirling eruptions of water, smashing their heads together, raking each other's armored hides with their teeth, limbs often lost in the fray. The victor claims the prime territory and the right to mate with the females residing within it. The loser, if he survives, is banished to the marginal fringes, doomed to wander in search of an unclaimed backwater. Following the violence of the mating season comes a period of surprising tenderness, a stark contrast to the crocodile's fearsome reputation. The female, having mated, seeks out a secluded spot above the floodline to construct her nest. She is a diligent architect, using her powerful hind legs to scrape together a massive mound of vegetation and soil, sometimes 3 feet high and 6 feet across. Into the center of this decomposing compost heap, she lays 50 or 60 hard-shelled eggs, then carefully buries them. The rotting vegetation generates the heat necessary to incubate the eggs, but it is a delicate balance. The temperature within the nest determines the destiny of her offspring. Cooler temperatures produce females, while warmer temperatures produce males. For 3 months, she becomes an unwavering sentinel, guarding the nest from goannas, wild pigs, and curious humans. Fasting for weeks, her maternal instinct overriding all else. She waits for a sound that only she is tuned to hear. From deep within the buried eggs comes a chorus of high-pitched chirping sounds. The hatchlings are calling to their mother, signaling that they are ready to face the world. Hearing their cries, the immense female begins to gently excavate the nest, her massive claws moving with surprising delicacy so as not to crush the fragile lives beneath the soil. As the tiny, boldly striped hatchlings emerge, blinking against the harsh light of day, the mother performs her most incredibly gentle act. She lowers her colossal head, opening the jaws that can crush a buffalo's skull, and allows the babies to scramble into her mouth. She gathers them up, dozens at a time, trapped safely behind the palatal valve in her throat, carrying them like precious jewels down to the water's edge. She releases them into a secluded nursery pool, a creche where they will spend their first few months under her watchful eye. Despite this fierce maternal protection, the odds are stacked heavily against the young dinosaurs. They are bite-sized snacks for virtually every predator in the ecosystem. Large fish, wading birds, birds of prey, turtles, and even other larger crocodiles. Out of the 60 eggs laid, perhaps only 1 or 2 will survive to reach adulthood. It is a ruthless attrition, nature's way of ensuring only the strongest, the wariest, and the luckiest survive. The young crocodiles must learn quickly, honing the instincts passed down through millions of generations, learning to hide in the reed beds, to hunt insects and small fish, growing an inch or 2 a year, slowly climbing the food chain until the day comes when they are no longer the prey, but the predator. Those few who survive the gauntlet of youth grow into monsters that defy the passage of time. A saltwater crocodile can live for 70 years, perhaps even longer, growing throughout its life, becoming thicker, heavier, its scutes worn smooth by decades of navigating the abrasive riverbeds. These elders are the living memory of the ecosystem, witness to cyclones and droughts, changes in sea level, and the encroachment of man. They are the apex of aquatic evolution, perfect in their design, requiring no improvement. To look into the cold, golden eye of a large saltwater crocodile is to experience a profound and primal disquiet, a realization that we are looking at a creature that views us not with malice, but with the detached indifference of a profound and ancient hunger. As the sun sets over the tidal flats, painting the sky in hues of violent orange and purple, the large V-shaped wake of a cruising crocodile cuts across the darkening water. The king is on patrol, a timeless silhouette against the fading light, an enduring reminder that in these wild corners of the earth, the primordial world still reigns supreme.